Today, Precarious plays
Deus Ex, Human Revolution. You were talking about how you beat Spider-Man. We'll just call it Marvel Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You made sure to do one of every mission type, and then you cleared the story.
Yeah.
And you have... Would you say that you were satisfied with the experience?
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. Yes.
Because I have the instinct to chide you.
Yeah.
Even if it's just jokingly.
Yeah.
Like, I have the instinct to be like, oh, but did you really beat it? You didn't get 100%. When trying to get 100%, which is what I've been doing. Oh,
yeah.
Yeesh.
Oh, why is that?
Doug, I am witnessing the most disturbing things I have ever seen. Something terrible is happening here. Panchaea has erupted into complete mayhem. Augmented workers are running amok, writhing in pain and senselessly attacking everything in their path. I do not know what is going on, but it appears their augments are turning against them. I can see several afflicted people nearby. Soldiers, I think, from the... Excuse me. Sorry, ma'am. Excuse me. Pardon. I see...
More bods?
I see an arrow. And it looks like a foot. I see an arrow, and I'm wondering if that's... someone that is... I wonder if that's an augmented person. Not quite.
Yeah.
I have not given up on Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I will say that I have possibly put more hours total into it. And am further from the conclusion.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously now.
Well, yeah.
What with you having already arrived there. I don't know if I've had any more fun with the game. With the game.
Well,
the game.
I would argue that that means that it is a very, considerately designed game. Because a person like me can run through it and enjoy the story and enjoy the action. I like fighting in Spider-Man. It's fun and satisfying and memorable how it works. Like the way the combat is laid out on the controller is something that stuck with me long enough. Like, you know how Smash Bros is kind of like riding a bicycle because everything is sort of mapped to a certain format, like a logical...
Like, generally, if your character has a ranged attack, it's probably going to be neutral B or side B, that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah,
so, you close with a target with triangle. You do damage with, I don't know what the buttons are because my hands do it and I don't think about it anymore.
I get that.
But, this one, it's square, right?
The rightmost face button. I switch between controllers so often that I usually try to think of them.
The rightmost face button will start a punch 'em combo,
A punch 'em up.
Yeah, and then the rightmost face button will, do a dodge of some kind. And this goes for most intense action sequences when they're just kind of throwing prompts at you too. It's just logical in a way that you learn it and then it's in there. So then you can start to get more out of it the more abilities that you unlock, and it's just nice. It just makes sense. And if it makes sense and it's very comforting and nice to me, that's great. But then also if a person like you who loves to run around and 100% stuff and enjoys collecting photos of all the landmarks and doing stuff like that, and you want to get a lot more out of the game, I mean, There's even a ton of combat in there that I was able to completely skip, and I didn't need it to level up. You know, I didn't have to grind at any point.
I would argue...
I did leave it on a very low difficulty, though, but I did that intentionally.
I would argue that the opposite is true. I would argue that it is maybe a little overstuffed, or perhaps even inhumanely designed.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I'm having fun going around doing all of these, doing this laundry list of stuff. I just sort of feel obligated to, because it's there to be done. Now, that is me intentionally casting it in the worst possible light.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of conversation. You know who I think about pretty often whenever this kind of conversation comes up? The completionist.
Yeah.
Gerard Khalil?
I think so. That sounds correct.
Yeah, I think about him often. I specifically, like, the go-to in my mind is Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Poor guy tortured himself getting all of the Koroks. I can't think of any other way to describe it other than just torture. Just subjecting yourself to that kind of monotony.
Yeah.
I mean, Breath of the Wild is a nice place to be for a little while.
Yeah.
But scouring, I mean, after a certain point, you have to, like, kind of divide the map into a grid and systematically dig through it if you want to find everything. I mean, that's an example of something that I feel like it's one of the biggest game design missteps Nintendo has made in years. What they should have done is maybe have... I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to give a very specific example here. They should have had 900 possible Korok locations, but after you get... I'm still going to throw out a big number, which I don't necessarily agree with, but just for the sake of conversation, you can get 300 Koroks, and then the other locations are all empty. Like, they disappear from the map.
Yeah.
Because if you, no matter how ludicrous something is, if you put it in the game, somebody somewhere is gonna do it. Even if it's Gerard.
Yeah.
Doing it for work. Because he has a brand, and he has to hold to that brand, even if it sucks. Even if it is the worst experience.
Yeah. But I know myself well enough to know that I'm not interested in that level of, like, completing everything.
Right.
Do you feel like you are obligated to complete everything that's available all the time?
Well, no, which is why I keep taking long breaks from it. It's why I haven't played it in a few weeks. Like what I did the last time I played, there's a mission type that I don't like very much. And this is gonna sound weird, but what I did the last time I played is I just sat down and did a bunch of those. And now I'm sort of like letting that fade from memory. So the next time I play, it will just be more of the good stuff that I like, you know?
That makes sense. I know that it does sound a little silly, but, you know, I do that with chore type stuff.
You know, chores.
Yeah.
The thing that everybody sits down to do whenever they play the video game.
Well, here's the thing. Do you enjoy being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? Sorry,
Sorry, this is a really slow one.
No, it's all right.
Okay. Do I enjoy... Oh, yeah. I mean... No. I mean... I like the web swinging. And the combat is all right. But I don't really like... the intimacy with which Spider-Man saves people. It's very personable.
Yeah.
I would much prefer to, like, if I could go do a superhero thing in real life, it would be more of like a Batman, where I would like help people perhaps without them ever recognizing it, or I get to say, because of the brand that's been developed around Batman, it's fair of him to just say, the blaze will be here soon, and then grapple away, right?
Disappear.
Yeah, he just sort of fades into shadow and doesn't have to be friendly.
Yeah, he's not your friendly neighborhood bat person.
Yeah. No, he is the knight.
He is the knight.
And if I had to choose between being a friendly neighborhood or the knight, I think I'd pick the latter. A friendly neighborhood. Let me tell you the thing that I liked most about playing Spider-Man outside of the web swinging, which is the funnest thing. I might just play the game more just so that I can swing around buildings, because it's just like the only explanation for it that I think really covers everything is wee. It's just like every time I try to explain to people why the web slinging is so good, I just say wee, because that's what it feels like. It makes you want to make that noise. But the thing that I liked most after that was not being severely punished for responding to the urgency of the plot points that as they evolved. I feel like I left a lot of game on the table to be played later, which you can do. And the game didn't punish me for freaking out and running directly to the next plot point, because when you're Spider-Man, everything is on fire all the time, you know? But at the same time, the game didn't punish me for stopping to help out with a crime in progress en route to wherever I was originally going. It just let me go be Spider-Man. I didn't feel like I was having to do things in a certain particular order that the game says that I should do. It's like Spider-Man doesn't have a boss. Spider-Man's volunteer. Spider-Man does the Spider-Man how the Spider-Man wants to Spider-Man. I will say that that might be one of the biggest problems I really do have with Marvel Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think that I might have a little bit too much in common with I realize that I've got like 10 of these and there might not be 10 more locks in the game.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to start doing these for 4s and 5s.
Yeah.
I think I might have a little bit too much in common with Peter.
Yeah.
So I did find myself feeling strongly compelled to divert from my course to help out with a crime in progress. I do feel obligated to just drop whatever I'm doing to help with a crime that's happening.
Aw, you might just be a better Spider-Man, but I still enjoyed the game.
But Spider-Man's life is really stressful.
Yeah.
And I think that it made Spider-Man a more stressful game than maybe they intended.